Hello students, hope you all are keeping fine. Okay, today before starting the class, I would like to give you some important information regarding the map work. Ma'am Sneh has already told you about the map work and she had told you about some 15 maps. 3 more maps are there which you have to do. So total will become 18. So I'll tell you about those 3 more maps. Alright, so take out that copy where you have written about the map work. All these 3 maps you will be doing on political map of India. So your 16th map will be iron ore mines, iron ore mines, iron ore mines. And which all places you have to mark there? Mayurbhanj, Durg, Bailadila, 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 Bellary, Kudremukh, Kudremukh, Kudremukh. So, iron ore mines, the symbol that you will be putting is a circle, and you will find this map on page 52 in your geography book. Then we have next map, coal mines. Coal mines. Next map is coal mines. Here you have to mark Raniganj, Bokaro, Talcher, Neveli. Raniganj, Bokaro, Talcher, Neveli. So coal mines, the symbol that you will be putting is triangle. And you'll find this map on page 57 of your geography book. Next, oil fields. In oil fields, you have to mark Digboy, Naharkatia, Mumbai High, Bassein, Kalol, Ankleshwar. Digboy, Naharkatia, Mumbai High, Bassein, Kalol, Ankleshwar. Oil fields, you'll put this symbol and you'll find this on page 57 of your geography book. So these 3 maps are also to be done. Ma'am has already given you 15, these 3 you have to add to that. So you have 18 maps to be done. And keep your maps ready, keep the map work ready, do it, keep it properly. Any day you will be asked to bring and submit the maps, so be ready with your map work. I hope I am very clear with what you have to do. Alright, so now let's start with today's class. Till now what we had seen that manufacturing industries are the backbone of the economical development of the country. The economic strength of a country depends on the manufacturing industries. Other than that, we had also learned about the location of industries. So industrial location does not depend on one thing or the other thing, it depends on plenty of things: availability of raw materials, availability of labor, capital, electric supply, government policies. Plenty of factors are there which affect the location of industries in a particular place. And when industries are located, it is impossible to find all the facilities at one place, all the factors at one place. So what is done? Industry is located at that place where maximum factors can be arranged at a very low cost. In the third video, we had learned about the classification of industries into heavy industry, light industry, large scale industry, small scale industry, like this, public sector, private sector, and so on. We had learned about the classification. Today we are going to start with agro-based industries. We will be learning about agro-based as well as mineral-based. So today we are going to start with agro-based industries. I hope you all have your books with you. So open your books to page number 65. We'll start with agro-based industries. Yesterday I explained to you, agro-based industries means those industries which get their raw material from agriculture. That type of industry is known as agro-based industry. Raw material comes from agriculture. So let's start. Cotton, jute, silk, woolen textiles, sugar and edible oil, etc. industries are based on agricultural raw materials. All these industries which were named just now, they get their raw materials from agricultural, and because of that all these industries are agro-based industries. We start with textile industry. The textile industry occupies unique position in the Indian economy. So it is very important for the Indian economy, the textile industry, because it contributes significantly to industrial production. Textile production is done in plenty here. Employment generation, lot many people are working in the textile industry, and foreign exchange earnings. The products are exported to other countries and foreign exchange is earned. It is the only industry in the country which is self-reliant, self-dependent, self-sufficient and complete in the value chain. Now value chain means from the beginning, that is from raw materials to the finished goods. Everything is done nicely and all the things earn a lot of money for the Indian economy. So that is why it is a very important industry, the textile industry. Now in the textile industry, we are going to start with cotton textiles. Cotton textiles. In ancient India, cotton textiles were produced with hand spinning and handloom weaving techniques. So in olden times, in ancient India, work was being done with hand. Manual work was done, hand spinning was done, where yarn was made and all the weaving was done by handloom. After the 18th century, power looms which run by electricity. So power looms were introduced, power looms came into use. Our traditional industries suffered a setback during the colonial period, that is the time when the Britishers were ruling over India. That time, this textile industry, our traditional industry, it suffered a setback. It had a problem. Why? Because the Britishers were bringing factory-made clothes from England, and the handmade clothes of India were not able to compete with the factory-made clothes from England. And because of that, our industry suffered a lot during the British rule. Our traditional industries suffered a setback during the colonial period because they could not compete with the mill-made cloth from England. This is what I explained just now. Some facts are given there. The first successful textile mill was established in Mumbai in 1854. Then the two world wars were fought in Europe. India was a British colony at that time. There was a demand for cloth in UK. Hence, they gave a boost to the development of cotton textile industry during the world wars. England was involved in the war, and because of that, production was done there in England, but it was not able to meet the demands of that time. So automatically what happened, because India was a colony of Britain, so here also production increased, and that way our industry got a boost. In the early years, the cotton textile industry was concentrated in the cotton growing belt of Maharashtra and Gujarat. Cotton textile industry was in the beginning mainly found in Maharashtra and Gujarat, because cotton was mainly grown in these two states. Availability of raw cotton, market, transport, which includes ports, port was available in Maharashtra and in Gujarat also. Labor, moist climate, etc. contributed towards its localization. So why this industry was located there? So the reasons are given here. Raw cotton was available easily, market was there for transportation, port facility was there, labor was available at a low cost, plus the climate was suitable for growing cotton. This industry has close links with agriculture and provides a living to farmers, cotton ball pluckers and workers engaged in ginning, spinning, weaving, dyeing, designing, packaging, tailoring and sewing. So this industry is basically connected to agriculture. So it is connected to the farmers. Farmers earn their living from this. Other than that, there are cotton ball pluckers who pluck the cotton that is growing on the plants. They also earn their living. Other than that, many other people, like those who are doing ginning. Ginning is separating the seed from the cotton balls that have been plucked. Other than that, spinning, weaving, dyeing, so many processes in the making of the fabric is done, and all these people get their employment because of the cotton textile industry. The industry, by creating demand, supports many other industries such as chemicals and dyes. For dyeing the fabric and all, you require the chemicals, so this industry is supported. Packaging materials, that industry is also supported because you have to pack these things and export, and engineering works, machinery and things are required. So it supports other industries also. It is based on agriculture, it is getting its raw material from agriculture, supporting many people who are engaged in agricultural activities, but other than that, it also supports other industries also. While spinning continues to be centralized in Maharashtra, Gujarat and Tamil Nadu, weaving is highly decentralized. Centralized means it is mainly concentrated in that area, that is Maharashtra, Gujarat and Tamil Nadu. Spinning, making yarn, that is making thread from the fiber, that is basically done in these three states. Weaving, changing the thread or the yarn into fabric, into cloth, that is done in different places. That is why it is written highly decentralized, that is, it is spread at different places to provide scope for incorporating traditional skills. We know that in India, in different places, they have their own methods of weaving and embroidery and these type of work, and because of that, making of fabric or weaving is done in different parts of India. And designs of weaving in cotton, silk, zari, embroidery. You want to get all these designs and embroidery work and all, then you have to get the weaving done from special craftsmen who are skilled to do this work, and that is why the weaving industry is spread at different places. India has world-class production in spinning. We produce high-quality yarn, high-quality thread is produced in India. But weaving supplies low quality of fabric, as it cannot use much of the high quality yarn produced in the country. This is one drawback of this industry, that through spinning we are getting the best quality of yarn in India, but we don't have the facilities to use this high quality yarn and convert it into fabric in India. And because of that, the fabric that is produced here is of low quality. Weaving is done by handloom, palloom and in mills, that is in factories. The hand-spun khadi provides large-scale employment to weavers in their homes as a cottage industry. Khadi material is also produced, and it is done by hand spinning. So that provides a job to a lot of people at their homes, and when people work at their homes in producing these type of things, this type of industry is known as cottage industry. India exports yarn to Japan. So I already told you we are producing high quality or the best quality yarn here, but we don't have facilities to use this yarn. So what is being done? India exports this yarn to Japan. Other than Japan, you have some other countries which import the cotton goods from India. They are USA, UK, Russia, France, East European countries, Nepal, Singapore, Sri Lanka and African countries. And that is why you know that this industry earns a lot of foreign exchange. We have a large share in the world trade of cotton yarn. Our yarn is of high quality, best quality, and because of that our share is also big in the world trade of yarn. Our spinning mills are competitive at the global level and capable of using all the fibers we produce. And the spinning mills which are producing the yarn, alright, they are very capable, and that is why all type of fiber that is produced here is changed into yarn by the spinning mills, and best quality yarn is being produced here. The weaving, knitting and processing units cannot use much of the high quality yarn that is produced in the country. This is what is happening. Yarn is produced of best quality, everything is done nicely, but the weaving, knitting, processing industry does not have the facility to use this high quality yarn here. And that is why the fabric that is produced is not of that high quality. There are some large and modern factories in these segments. So in the cotton textile industry, you find plenty of big factories, and there is a map here on page 67 where they have given the location of cotton textile, woolen textile and silk textile industries at different places in India. So what I was telling you, there are many large industries in the cotton textile production, but most of the production is in fragmented small units. But most of cotton textile production is done in smaller units, not in the big industries, big factories, which cater to the local market. And this production is being done for the local market, the market of India. This mismatch is a major drawback for the industry. So this is a drawback, that we are producing high quality yarn, but we don't have facilities to produce high quality fabric. This is a mismatch, and that is a drawback for this industry. Otherwise we would have earned a lot more than what we are earning from the cotton textile industry now. As a result, many of our spinners export cotton yarn, while apparel or garment manufacturers have to import the fabric. Yarn, high quality yarn, so it is exported to other countries. But the garment factory, the garment makers, they have to import good fabric from outside India, from other countries. And that way we are losing money. If this yarn which we were producing was used to make good fabric, then good garments could be made and we could have earned more. Example is given here. Suppose that yarn is sold at rupees 85 per kg. If it is sold as a trouser, it fetches rupees 800 per kg. So value is added at every stage, from fiber to yarn to fabric and to garment. Alright, if you give it as a raw material, you are getting less. But if you give it as a finished good, you get more, you earn more. But because we are not able to use this yarn that is made here, the best quality yarn, into good fabric, because of that we are not able to earn much. Otherwise our foreign exchange earning would have been much more than whatever is being earned now. Although we have made significant increase in the production of good quality long staple cotton, the need to import is still felt. Improvement is being done. Alright, we are producing good quality cotton, but still we have to import from outside. Power supply is erratic, irregular. You can't depend on the power supply, electricity supply. That is another factor which is affecting this industry. And machinery needs to be upgraded. Most of the places, the small factories, most of the work is done in small units. There, the machines are outdated. That is another problem with this industry. In the weaving and processing sectors. So the weaving and processing sectors need to update their machines, bring better quality, good technology machines now. Other problems are the low output of labor and stiff competition with the synthetic fiber industry. The labor is producing less production is done, and the synthetic clothes are available in the market. Synthetic clothes, man-made artificial clothes, they are available in the market, nylon, rayon and like that, and these fibers give a tough competition to the cotton textile industry because these fibers are more durable and more attractive, so people are attracted to these fibers. So because of that, the synthetic fiber industry also gives a competition to this cotton textile industry. So this was about cotton textile industry. Now we would write some notes about this industry. So take out your copies and pens. Yesterday we had stopped at large scale industry. From below it you can start. Write the heading types of industries. Types of industries. Types of industries. In this, below that heading, you write first point, agro-based industry. Two types we will be doing, agro-based and mineral-based. So first we are doing agro-based industry. So you put that heading again, agro-based industries. Below it you write, these industries are based on agricultural raw materials. Full stop. Example, cotton, jute, silk, woolen textiles, sugar, edible oil, etc. Now in agro-based industry, the first point is textile industry. Textile industry. Put the heading textile industry. Now you have to write in points. The first point in textile industry, it is the only industry in India. It is the only industry in India, which is self-reliant and complete in the value chain, and in bracket you can write from raw materials to the highest value added products. Second point, it contributes to industrial production. In bracket you put 14%, employment generation in bracket 35 million persons, comma GDP in bracket you put 4%, and foreign exchange earnings in bracket you put 24.6%. Put a full stop. Third point, it occupies a unique position. It occupies a unique position in the Indian economy. It occupies a unique position in the Indian economy. Now in the textile industry, first we have the cotton textile industry. So put point number 1.1, cotton textiles. Cotton textiles. Put the heading cotton textiles. The first point in this, textile production was through hand spinning and handloom weaving in ancient India. Second point, parlooms came into use after the 18th century. Third point, during the British rule, our textile industry suffered a setback as they were unable to compete with the mill-made cloth from England. Fourth point, our first cotton textile mill was established in the year 1854 in Mumbai. Fifth point, development of the cotton textile industry the cotton textile industry in India took place during the world wars as demand increased. The last point under this heading: on 30 November 2011, comma, there were 1946 cotton. There were 1946 cotton and human-made fiber textile mills in India. Out of which 80% were in the private sector. 80% were in the private sector, and the remaining in public and cooperative sectors. We'll stop here for today and we'll continue in the next class. So be good and take care.